Fam, what's going on? It is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. If you roll Tide, give this video a thumbs up. I appreciate you guys being here. Today, we are talking about Jalen Milrore, the Alabama starting quarterback. Monster year expected for the Tide quarterback. 6'2", 225 pounds last year. Threw for 2,800 yards and 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Quarterback rating on ESPN, 80.5. You look at what he was able to do last year, really remarkable, considering he was in an offense, I think, that didn't creatively display his full potential. And I think that is something that Nick Sheridan is going to be able to do, along with Coach Kalen DeBoer, most importantly. What we have in this video is Jalen Milrore speaking to the media after practice on Tuesday before the first game against Western Kentucky. We're going to play that. We're also going to have some B-roll footage from Tuesday's practice, but we're going to start with Coach Kalen DeBoer talking about his quarterback, Jalen Milrore. And let me ask you, inside the comment box, I'm going to put a poll up for you guys. You should see the poll inside the comment box right now. Do you think that Jalen Milrore will throw for over 3,500 yards this season and rush for over 600 yards? Because that would put him at over 4,000 yards. You got to think that he scores over 30 touchdowns. We're talking Heisman Trophy type numbers. And let me ask you this as well. Type H right now inside the comment box if you think that he's going to win the Heisman Trophy. Look, these are lofty expectations, but considering what he has at his disposal from the offense, considering that this offensive coordinator and the head coach believe in him, not to say that Saban didn't. In fact, I promise you, there was a meeting last year where a lot of the assistant coaches wanted Dylan Lonergan to start, okay? This is going to be on the 30 for 30 that people find out later on. It was Coach Saban who wanted Jalen Milrore to start at quarterback. Let's start with Coach Kalen DeBoer talking about Jalen Milrore, and then we'll dive into Jalen Milrore's press conference from Tuesday. We'll pause it. We'll talk about it. We'll highlight some points, and then we'll also look at the B-roll, and then we'll have some additional topics added to this video. But I appreciate you guys being here, and let's start with Coach Kalen DeBoer. Here's Kalen DeBoer talking about his quarterback. This was earlier on Monday.
Hey, Coach. After the first couple of days of camp, you spoke highly about the steps that Jalen Milrore took. Just how have you seen him maybe continue on that trajectory over the course of the preseason?
Sure. He's been consistent, and that's what I think one of the biggest qualities that you can have is consistent. Obviously you want it consistently at the highest level you possibly can, but you want to walk on the field, and this is for any player, but I think this is something that Jalen's done a better and better job of since we've gotten here, and it's what you're going to get when you get out there. Whether it's the attitude and the effort. Again, the play on the field. There really haven't been some crazy highs or crazy lows. I think he's just continuing to build, continuing to work with his guys, whether it's the offensive line and the communication and making sure he's on the same page with maybe protections, run checks or whatever it might be, the receiving core on timing of routes, a lot of communication. I think he continued to grow and evolve, as well. So the consistency, I really have an appreciation for what he's done. He's been really patient going way back to the spring on letting us, just put the offense in the progression that we're used to and the things that we see. You always see things that you want to get in, and these are the things that you did really well, and we get to those. But there's a progression with the teaching that's happened, and I just appreciate the patience he's had from the very beginning when we got here on getting through all of it and now being ready to play week 1.
That was Coach Kalen DeBoer talking about his quarterback, Jalen Milrore. You look at the captains right now, Jalen Milrore, Tyler Booker, Malachi Moore, and Deontay Lawson. Each of those guys had a decision to make when Coach Saban left. They could have left, maybe sought out greener pastures, thought that the program was going to collapse. Those guys came together. It's been documented. They came together, and they said, let's finish out what we started. Let's go win a national championship together. Coach Kalen DeBoer came in, worked with these guys. They kept the roster intact. They had a fantastic spring. They've clearly have team camaraderie. I love this group of captains, to be honest. These guys are great, and it starts with the mindset up top. How bad do you want to reach your ultimate goal of being a champion, right? You're remembered based off your last game. Jalen Milrore is going to talk about that right now. People remember that Michigan game. Lost in the Rose Bowl. Lost against Texas. I love this interview. Here's Jalen Milrore. We'll pause it. It's a good interview today following practice. Here's your quarterback, Jalen Milrore.
I think for everything, it's all about having goals set and also relating back to the team. I think that's very important because, the offseason is very important because there's no shot clock. And so within that time frame, you have so much growth to improve on and get better at. And for us, all we can do is reflect on the 2023 season because you're judged off your last performance. And so all we want to do is keep on building and improving. And in each room has goals for themselves. And most importantly, it's all about the relationship aspect of it with Coach Sheridan, Coach DeBoer, the quarterbacks in the room. Just always just trying to improve. And Coach DeBoer talks about relentless pursuit to continuous improvement. And that's something that we got to do constantly each and every day so that when it comes to goals set, which is future goals and long-term goals, we can accomplish that based off of, what we do in the offseason, which is in the dark.
Well, what about last year? How did you feel about this time?
I felt good, confident, just off of training. Because, you fall back to your level of training. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall back to your level of training so that for any aspect of the game that it comes to, you can reflect back on your training and based off of the reps after practice. And so, with that, it's all about being detail-oriented so that, in any time where it's a crucial aspect in the game, you can step up because of the level of training.
Kalen DeBoer's been kind of almost like a quarterback risk for his career. What about him makes it, such a good quarterback, or like such a, easy to play quarterback under, I guess?
No, absolutely. It's been great to be with him, especially, of course, he, just the relationship he has with the quarterback and just trying to learn as much as possible. And as a quarterback, I want to see the field and the lenses of the head coach, in all areas of the game. And so that's been awesome to have that aspect now from spring ball to summer training and now fall camp, then transition to the season. It's been so much growth and so much improvement as a team, just off of just the relationship aspect and just always being a sponge for all information.
What's it like going through a film session with him? Kind of take us behind the scenes a little bit and kind of give us a behind the scenes look of what it's like kind of going through one of those with him.
I think, ultimately you're trying to see the field as a coach, to see the football field in the lenses of the coach, and it processes differently, when you get on the field. Because, at the end of the day, at the quarterback position, you simplify the game into being a point guard with the football. Distribute the ball to our playmakers so they can make explosive plays and, doing what the player was required. And so no better than you can have the opportunity, which is the film prep, so that, you have the preparation. So when you get on the field, you can play at the fastest and ultimately you're going to get best.
He had a success with a guy named Lorenzo Brown back at Sioux Falls, the guy that can run the ball. Everyone talks about all his pocket passing, but have you seen any of what he was able to do with Lorenzo, and what do you kind of think that could mirror in your game, or?
Not necessarily. I just try to, just trying to improve and get better in my sense because, I haven't reached the surface of what I can do. So, with each and every day, it's all about, setting goals and ultimately being around my coaching staff because, they're going to push me to be wherever I need to be at so that I can be ready to play when it comes to game one.
He pushes you, but talk about the confidence that Nick Sheridan gives you as the quarterback coach. What are the things that he says and does that puts you at that confident level?
Number one, he believes in me. He loves me. And I think there's nothing greater than that. Beyond any X's and O's and going over schemes, it's the belief system that a coach has in a player. And so you're going to want to play for a coach. You're going to want to do ultimately your best, each and every day because you have a coach that's behind you and that wants the best for you. And so that's something I've seen, from our, time period of him getting here into now. It's been so much fun. That's the best thing about it is that football's been fun. And to be around him, it's been awesome. And I just continue to enjoy our relationship.
I want to pause right there because so many times we'll go back and forth inside the comment box. And when we have the call-in show, you guys call in, we talk about this. I mean, look at his past offensive coordinators, Tommy Rees and Bill O'Brien. And I don't know, a lot of people are going to, say something in the comment box because they feel that, it wasn't on those. I feel that this guy was handcuffed because of those OCs that he had. Do you agree with me or disagree inside the comment box? Look, Nick Sheridan, he's the OC. He was a tight ends coach last year at Washington. But I think, look, in my mind, Coach Kalen DeBoer is the offensive coordinator. Say what you want. He can have the title. I'm sure he's going to have, call the plays, the helmet communication. But in my mind, Kalen DeBoer is the offensive coach. That's just my opinion. Just like I felt Nick Saban was really the defensive coach, and I think we learned that last season. I think with Kalen DeBoer, Jalen Milrore, I think you're going to see something really special from Jalen Milrore this coming season, something that we haven't even seen before from this young man. We continue with Jalen Milrore's press conference from Tuesday.
How has Kalen sort of tweaked the offense for y'all and y'all's skill sets versus what you saw on tape with him at Washington?
I think he hasn't really. I mean, of course, you try to simplify our team into strengths and weaknesses, and so with that, you're going to attack the strengths because that's what's going to make us successful. And so, us as an offense, we're not one-dimensional. We have so much elements to our game that's going to be super successful this year. And with him being at Washington and with him being now, you can separate into pillars of what is our strengths, what are our weaknesses. And so during the offseason, you have spring ball, you have summer ball, you have fall camp, to now have that information that we can build on for us on offense.
You mentioned that he kind of designed it around you, and you're going to kind of accentuate your skills. When you have that kind of conversation with him, is that something that goes over time, or do you sit? How do those preferences? How do you convey them to? What's the process of that like?
I think it's comes from confidence and being comfortable. At the end of the day, when a player's on the field, he needs to play fast, free, fearless. And so with that, it comes with play calls. It comes with being familiar with the scheme, being prepared, taking notes when you're in the film room, so that when you go on the field, you can play fast. Because the biggest thing as a player, you don't want to be overthinking while you're in the field. And so I think that's very important. When it comes to our schemes and maneuvers, when it comes to playing in game one, when it comes to installing plays, it's all about the benefit of the whole team, and which is something that we do really well at.
We know you want to grow the game. Has the staff talked to you about what you running the ball can do for the offense?
Oh, absolutely. For sure. Like, one thing about it is that it's hard to beat an offense that's not one-dimensional. That's something that we take pride in on offense, is that we're not one-dimensional. We have so many areas of our game that we can utilize in every room, and then especially, with the run game, with the passing game, it's going to be hard for our defense to just decipher, what are they going to do on offense. And so, for us on offense, all we want to do, continue to be 1-0 mindset-wise, and just build off the next play, because, it's hard to say, what we're going to run in the next play, because we have so many areas of our game that we could be explosive at.
I think the thing we really haven't even seen Jalen Milrore run, in my opinion. I don't think he's really just taken over a game with his running ability. And I think he is not a one-dimensional quarterback. I think he can throw. You saw his deep ball last year was over 98 or something like that. And I think the short intermediate passes, those will be under a microscope. And I feel that he's ready to showcase just how much he has improved year over year. And you're going to see that with all the weapons that he has. You also look at Alabama's offense in general. I mean, can you imagine Coach Kalen DeBoer, Nick Sheridan, Jamarcus Shepard taking over this offense and just looking at the pieces that they have, even Coach Kapilovic thinking about the linemen? I mean, this offense should be scoring well over 40 points a game. I think it's going to be the most dynamic offense in the game. They are entirely deep at every single position. Even that tight end room, which I wanted to see more. I've been really impressed with that tight end room. You look at the running backs, Justice Haynes, Jam Miller, Richard Young. You look at all the wide receivers, the offensive line's intact. They look trimmed down. This offense is absolutely loaded. Cannot wait to see what they do as a whole. But Jalen Milrore, I mean, if he has to take over a game like he did in the SEC championship game, he'll do that, and he can do that under Coach Kalen DeBoer. We continue.
What does that say about your relationship with your teammates and trusting you, but you have to do something?
That's something that is very important to me. I take a lot of pride in representing our football team, representing the state of Alabama, representing the guys in our locker room in a positive lighting. And so to have the opportunity to be a captain this year is very, very important. And, I'm super excited for the opportunity. And so now it's just trying to be the positive reflection of our football team each and every day that I walk in the building. And so, I'm just super thankful to be nominated as the team captain this year.
Jalen, what can this team do this season? What's their goals?
I'll say, our goal ultimately is each game that goes by, we need to get better. Our first game shouldn't be our best game. Each game that we have this year, we should get constantly getting better. And as we're getting better, you simplify the game. 1-0, attacking each and every day. You do that, you complement, success and stuff like that. You're going to reach the top, of the mountain. And so, of course, we know what's at the top of the mountain, which is all the success, every goal that every team in the whole country has for themselves is at the top of the mountain. It's not reachable right now. So the biggest thing we try to do is attack fall camp, where we were just at, and now it's game week, and just being prepared as much as possible. And that's something that emphasizing to the whole group is just being prepared for all aspects of the game, because we're going to need all 4 quarters to be successful as a football team.
What's up, Jalen? I know you're a Texas guy. I'm a Texas guy myself.
Okay. Yeah.
I know you're from Katy. I've had the opportunity to see your journey just from Katy to Alabama, and seeing you win the starting job, and just the adversity you dealt with from last year, being benched in the South Florida game. Then your Heisman run, and then just overall just the last play of that Michigan game. Can you just talk about how all those experiences just made you a better quarterback, a better leader, and just a better teammate overall?
I think that's a really good question. I think experience is the best teacher. With so many opportunities of playing the game of football, you learn so much about yourself, and it makes you stronger. And that's something that I can truly say, is that my journey of being in college has made me stronger and been prepared for all aspects of whatever takes place in the future. And so I got to applaud my support system along this process. They've been great to me, uplifting me along the journey. Whenever the process got weary, I've been constantly just been strong based off my support system that's been around me and the coaching staff that's been around me. And so I have an army behind me, so it's been awesome to have that in a sense. But along this process, it's all about trusting in it. That's something I learned from Coach Saban, is as cliche as it is, just trusting the process. There's going to be light at the end of that tunnel based on your race. Your race is your race. Nobody else can, determine your race. And so that's something I take a lot of pride in when it comes to a journey, is that there's going to be brighter days, and it's all about setting short-term goals and long-term goals. When you have that, you have something that's reachable in a sense, and you have something that you're working towards. And so, now at this aspect of where I'm at, as a quarterback, there's always room for improvement. You never can get complacent, but I can truly say that I'm proud of myself because of the process, that just trusting it, and that's something that I got to credit Coach Saban for, and now Coach DeBoer, because he emphasizes trusting the process. And so with this process, it's all about, being surrounded by like-minded people, which is to be successful, and just, keep pushing and not getting complacent.
A lot of DeBoer's former players talk about him being a father figure to them. Have you had a moment this offseason where, you can share with us that where maybe he kind of showed that to you, or was there a moment that kind of exemplified that with you and his relationship?
I can just credit him to how great of a person he is. Just the likability he has in the whole facility, and when he's around, it's never a dull moment with Coach DeBoer. And I love that about him. And, one thing, of course, strive for perfection, but he acknowledges that as a work in progress. And so it's always, critique in private, praise in public. And that's something that he does a really good job at. And, I can just say that I'm really having a lot of fun. The game of football is fun, just being around him. And it is something that's emphasized with the whole coaching staff. And then you got to always start with the top of the pinnacle, which is Coach DeBoer, but also the coaching staff that he has with us has been awesome. So I'll just say, man, I just am super excited for what is in store for our football team, and also being led by Coach DeBoer, because it's been a fun process.
All right, now we got some B-roll from Alabama. That was a great interview, by the way. And if you want Jalen Milrore merchandise, go to Athletes Thread, and you can just type in the player that you want, for example, like Ryan Williams or Jalen Milrore, and it'll pop right up. And there should be more Lank gear dropping at the University of Alabama here soon, so please support the players. Let's go full screen and talk about practice footage. Number 41, this is Justin Okoronkwo. He's just a freshman inside linebacker, a guy that everybody's excited about to really see. There's Jahad Campbell, another guy that I can't wait to see. I think he's a top 10 pick in next year's NFL draft. Justin Okoronkwo, my goodness, I mean, Coach Saban said he would have been a 5-star if he played in the United States. You're looking at tackling drills. Number 3, that is Keon Sabb. Number 34, that is Q Rob, a guy that I expect to have a really nice season this year at that wolf position. I want to see these guys. Keanu Cope, my goodness, number 19. I listed him as my, guys that you're excited to see list. Right, Keanu Cope. Now, when you're out there listening to this, who are some players that you are really excited to see this coming Saturday? Right, there's Malachi Moore, and you look at these players putting in the work. One thing that's kind of been new to see is the players at practice now wearing white jerseys or crimson jerseys. Right, they were all white in the past under Coach Saban. I like this look right here for the Alabama defense, number 18 right here, Brayson Hubbard. If you played this NCAA football game, you know in year 2 he's an absolute monster, one of the harder hitters on the team right there with a lot of physicality. This defense, I want to see pressure on the quarterback. I do want to see pressure on TJ Finley, who has been named the starting quarterback. By the way, after these highlights, we got Tyson Helton, who's Western Kentucky's coach, is going to talk about that quarterback battle in naming TJ Finley the starting quarterback. But here's Alabama's defense. What are you expecting? How many points do you think this Alabama defense allows this coming Saturday? Less than 3 touchdowns? You want 2 touchdowns? I think, for us, there's Damani Jackson right there, number 1. We're gonna switch over to the offense in just a second. But what's kind of the baseline? Under 2 touchdowns, right? Like 14 points? I mean, Alabama's favored to win by 30 points in this game. I think 31. All right, let's rewind and look at this Alabama Crimson Tide offensive footage. And I want some help from you. Did Bubba Hampton change his number? You're gonna see a player coming up. I don't think that Bubba Hampton changed his number. I didn't see it, but maybe he did when we kind of go to the highlights here in just a second. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. This is courtesy, obviously, of the University of Alabama. Today, Alabama getting after it. They practice now in the morning times. This is the defense getting after it. We'll switch to the offensive highlights in just a second. Let's get there. All right, you see the wide receivers catching passes. This is Kendrick Law right here. Can't wait to see him in action. You think he scores one of Alabama's first touchdowns this season? This is Cole Adams. Man, he's so smooth. Number 8 right here. Who we got? Who you got for number 8? Number 11 is Rico Scott. Rico Scott been balling out, man. Amari Jefferson, another guy who just got here, one of the true freshmen. Here is Ryan Williams. Man, all these receivers, they're looking really smooth, really nice. Chris Brouts, Jeremy Bernard. Right, a new addition for the Alabama Crimson Tide. We didn't really talk about him that much in fall camp, but he went crazy during the spring game. Over 100 yards. Kendrick Law looking really polished. And Cole Adams, I think, I didn't list him as a wide receiver as a first-team starter, but I think he's going to be, critical for Alabama this coming season in terms of a guy that can go across the middle, right? You look at guys that can step up and when their name is called, I think Cole Adams is ready for that. Here's a backup quarterback for Alabama, Ty Simpson, throwing a nice ball to number 18. That is Caleb Odom, another wide receiver I'm excited to see. Number 5, that's man, Jalen's throwing a nice ball, I'm telling you. You'll see him throw a deep ball here in a second. That is really nice. There's Rico Scott again from Ty Simpson. Here's Jalen Milrore. Rocket, right? Getting the ball out to number 8, and then Jalen Milrore looks to the left. He's going to come across and delivers a deep ball right there to number 3. That is Emmanuel Henderson. Remember last year, Henderson was number 24. I know there was some comments about that inside the comment box. Rico Scott making another nice catch. Here's the tight ends. A room that I feel is stock up for me, right? That's C.J. Dupree. Danny Lewis is another guy that I think could be certainly utilized this coming season when you think about the tight ends. And there's Robbie Oots, who is number 45, making a catch. And then 86. I really like that 86. Was that 86? I don't think that was 86. Number 80 is Josh Cuevas, another guy who came in here at number 87. Danny Lewis, as you saw. Here's a quick look at the running backs. Man, Justice Haynes looking good. This whole running back room. There's Jan Miller, no black jersey. Okay, that's good to see. And we will now move to the press conference with Tyson Helton. So one thing that I want you guys to listen to coming up here is the fact that, going into this game, Tyson Helton has 2 quarterbacks to really choose from. 2 guys who did a really good job last year at their respective schools. Now, as you know, TJ Finley transferred over. And before that, you had Caden Veltkamp, who played in the bowl game for Western Kentucky, where he had a pretty impressive performance. In fact, against Old Dominion, Caden Veltkamp, who's 6'6", 240 pounds, he was 40 of 52, throwing for 383 yards with 5 touchdowns. Now, TJ Finley, 6'7", 255, he was named the starter. And as you see, Tyson Helton is going to explain why. Last season, he threw for 3,200 yards with 24 touchdowns at Texas State. Yes, this is the same TJ Finley who Alabama played back in 2020 at LSU. He's been at Auburn as well. Here is Western Kentucky head football coach Tyson Helton in his opening comments. Again, this was on Monday.
Coach Tyson Helton. Coach will open it up with a statement, then we'll jump into questions.
Yeah, excited about game week. Finally here. Been working really hard for a long time now, and I know our players are really excited about this week. Can't think of a better game to start off with a great opponent in Alabama. Get to go to their place, storied program. I know our guys are really excited to get the opportunity to play them, and it's just been a lot of hard work, and now you finally get to go out there and play somebody other than yourself, and it will be a great challenge for us, but a challenge that we're excited to get after, and looking forward to a good ball game. With that said, questions?
I guess the first question is, have you named a starting quarterback for Saturday?
Well, TJ will run out there first, but what I've told both quarterbacks is they both need to be ready to play. We'll see how the game goes. I felt like in camp, either one of those men were deserving of being the starter. You could flip a coin, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, but somebody has to run out there first, so TJ will run out there first. But you could expect to see Kalen in there. Wouldn't be shocked if he gets in there, and we're going to continue to evaluate both quarterbacks throughout the early part of the season, and just because I think both quarterbacks can win for us. I don't want any one particular guy looking over his shoulder or feeling pressure. I know what that feels like, but I do think competition brings out the best in everybody, so we'll continue that piece of it. Really like how both quarterbacks are leading our football team. They work well together. Our guys respond well to them, and I think they understand that team success equals personal success, and both of those guys are about the team. So TJ will go out there first, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see Caden playing some too out there at some point.
TJ haven't started against Alabama in the past. Was that a factor in the decision too, just that he kind of knows the environment and he would be a little more used to it?
Not really. That didn't really cross my mind. For me, it's more of how do I feel about the early part of the season, and what are we trying to do, and all those kind of things. I know he's been in a lot of those environments, and that certainly helps. But Caden was in an environment in the bowl game last year that that's a tough comeback victory that, one of the greatest of all time in bowl history. So he certainly can handle the pressure as well. For me, it's just more about somebody's got to run out there first, and where do I feel comfortable, with that piece. And, TJ is a very mature guy. He's a veteran guy. He's been in a lot of fires. And so it does make it a little easier to let him go out there first.
When it comes to the size of the opening opponent, it's been some years since Western's opened up against a team of this aspect, but how do you really kind of go throughout the week before Saturday to get the guys kind of composed and prepared before they take the field?
Our guys always do a great job of when we play on the road anyways. They get excited about those opportunities. I can remember when I was a player, we loved the first game I ever got to play in was at Alabama. It was in Birmingham at Legion Field, and I was with University of Houston, and I could just remember the excitement that I had as a player. So, for our guys, it's more about it's being the first game, being at a great environment at Alabama, great fan base. All those things just add to the excitement. Our guys do a great job. They have a pro mentality. Really it's not about the opponent. They just focus on their job and what they need to do. And so I'm not really concerned about, the environment or where we're headed, who we're playing. They've been in a lot of those places before. And I think it will elevate their play, to be quite honest with you, especially being the first game of the year. We got a lot of new faces, a lot of guys that, we think could be impact players for us, and so they'll be excited to get out there and try to show everybody who they are, and try to make everybody say, hey, who's number so-and-so? He's making a lot of plays out there. So there'll be a lot of good things to look forward to for this game for sure.
That was head football coach Tyson Helton. I appreciate you guys being here. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. You can catch me live every single day at 9 a.m. Central Time. Here's the Week 1 lineup. This is something that we talked about earlier today. You have Colorado taking on North Dakota State. That game is Thursday. Missouri taking on Murray State taking on Missouri. That is also Thursday. And then Temple taking on Oklahoma. That game is Friday. The big one that I'm excited to see is Clemson taking on Georgia. We talked about that earlier this morning. Here's the injury report for the Alabama Crimson Tide. One player that I also would like to mention is Xavier Brown is going to be good to go. He's the Alabama cornerback who had a cast during the season. He's good to go. During the fall camp, Jaden Roberts, who had surgery following Alabama scrimmage. He's going to be good to go. Jam Miller, who was in a black jersey, he's good to go. And Jeremiah Alexander, I think he's questionable, according to Coach Kalen DeBoer. Those are some headlines, and that's kind of the injury report for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Today I asked in the community tab, and the community tab is up on our YouTube channel, what do you want to see from this Alabama team this coming Saturday? You want to see A, and go ahead and type it in now, A, the passing game, B, a creative offense, C, running game, D, the quarterback pressure, right, from the Alabama defense, or E, do you want to see turnovers created by the Alabama defense? Go ahead and put that now. I think for me, when I look, kind of when I zoom out, I want to see, and I get it, they're not going to show everything in week one, but I do want to see a little bit of creative play calling from Coach Sheridan, Coach Kalen DeBoer, right? I want to see what they can do. I want to see Milroe. I want to see some different sets. I'm excited about that. And, of course, the pressure on the quarterback. That's something that has to be paramount in this 4-2-5 defense. And you have a lot of those wolf position players that I think are dynamic enough to get to TJ Finley, who's a big quarterback. As we said, 6'7", 255. Those wolf position players are super athletic. Q-Rob, Keanu Coat. So there's a lot to go over there. And then, the turnovers. That'll come with quarterback pressure, I promise you. And then I want to ask you this as well. Who are you most excited to see in terms of kind of the overall players? I listed a couple right here. Go ahead and list. Let's focus on this right here. So Justice Haynes, A. B, Ryan Williams. Go ahead and type this inside the comment box. C, Parker Brailsford, LT Overton, Keanu Coat, or Keon Keeley. I think for me, look, Justice Haynes, man, I am so excited to see that young man play and kind of, get a lot of opportunities. Can't wait to see what he can do. Ryan Williams, of course. It was more than hype. This is real. It is really happening. In terms of him playing, I listed Parker Brailsford. I get it as a center, but let's see how he can snap the ball, right? Keanu Coat, I think, is going to have a monster year. And then LT Overton, according to Coach Kane Womack, is absolutely killing it. And then Keon Keeley now switched to that bandit position. He's another guy as well. We talked about Western Kentucky at a glance. The last time that these two teams met was back in 2016 with Alabama winning by a score of 38-10. Similar score predicted, I think, by Vegas, right, with Alabama winning by more than 30. Now, I ask this as well. What's your biggest concern about this team, right? Is it the secondary? Is it the away schedule? Is it the overall season grind? Is it the new defense? The play in Milroe? There's a lot of people out there, I'm not one of them, that don't believe in Milroe still, which I think has kind of added to the fuel of his fire, right? Kind of the naysayer mentality, right? And the length, he's going to let him know, I promise you. Secondary, that's probably my biggest concern. Just because of the fact that, you have two new guys starting. They haven't played in the SEC. Damani Jackson, same thing with Sabian Brown. Jalen Mbakwe says on social media that it's the best defensive back room in the entire country. They certainly have the guys to do it. Feel more comfortable about, the safety position. Now, what's the strength of this team? Jalen Milrore at quarterback? Certainly. Kalen DeBoer's overall offense? The overall depth, type C? The defense, type D? Or that hunger factor? It could be the entire thing. I think, honestly, with Milroe at quarterback, he can just take over a game. You're talking about the best player in all of college football. Compare that with Coach Kalen DeBoer's offense. You talk about top offensive coordinators right now. Steve Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin, Kalen DeBoer, working with Jalen Milrore, right? The overall depth. I think that is going to play such a huge factor because, like I said, the season grind. We're not used to seeing what we're about to see this coming season. It's a season grind 1,000,000%. Bama by 30. You think Alabama wins by 30? Type Y right now if you think so. Type N if you don't. I think they win by more than 30. I think Coach Kalen DeBoer drops the hammer. Here's a look at the Alabama quarterback depth chart. We'll run through this. I like to go through this. C means captain and the transfer icon. Jalen Milrore is a first-team quarterback. Ty Simpson, second team, third team, Austin Mack, and then Dylan Lonergan. That running back room, healthy and absolutely loaded. Jam Miller, Justice Haynes, Richard Young, Daniel Hill, and Kevin Riley. The tight end room, stock up for these guys. CJ Dupree, Robbie Oots, Danny Lewis, Josh Cuevas, and Jay Lindsey. The wide receivers, I don't know which of the wide receivers will step out onto the field first. Jeremy Bernard, Kendrick Law, Kobe Prentice would be my guess, but I think that Ryan Williams, Emmanuel Henderson, and Cole Adams certainly going to be in the rotation as well. Let's talk about the offensive line depth chart. Look, Kane Proctor, Tyler Booker, Parker Brailsford, those guys All-American. Jaden Roberts, he's going to be healthy. And then Wilcom Formby at that right tackle position. The defensive tackle position, the nose guard, you have Tim Keenan, Tim Smith, Jaheim Oatis. It's so loaded. It's amazing to even talk about. And that bandit position, you got Jameer Lathan, LT Overton, and Keon Keeley. The Bama inside linebackers, this group is straight fire. Deontay Lawson, Jahad Campbell, Justin Jefferson, loaded. And Jeremiah Alexander, as Coach Kalen DeBoer said, is questionable for this game against Western Kentucky. The Wolf position, Q-Rob, Keanu Coate, Quay Russo, Yanzi VR, are you kidding me? And then the corners, the transfer icons, Damani Jackson and Deshaun Jones. And it looks like Xavier Brown is going to be another freshman that starts for the Alabama Crimson Tide, along with Jalen Mbakwe, who I think will certainly play, whether it's at corner or at special teams on Saturday. The safety position, you got Malachi Moore, you got Keon Sabb, you got Devontae Smith. I feel good about this group, I really do. And then King Mack and Red Morgan off the bench. Special teams, the A+ right here. Graham Nicholson, James Burnup, Nealon Hibbett, Jeremy Bernard, Cole Adams. I don't know who's going to return kicks or punts. Maybe it would be Jeremy Bernard to do both. Who would you like to see returning punts? That's a good one for you guys. And then, of course, all the transfers that are starting. I love this graphic. I think it really showcases what Coach Kalen DeBoer did. Damani Jackson, of course, came over with Coach Saban, but the rest, certainly cleaned up inside the transfer portal. Jeremy Bernard, Caden Proctor, Parker Brailsford, LT Overton, Keon Sabb, and Graham Nicholson coming over. And here's a look at the new coaching staff for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Kalen DeBoer, Courtney Morgan as the GM, Nick Sheridan, Kane Womack, and the rest of the coaches. Star-studded cast for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Can't wait. We're getting closer, fam. We are getting closer. Hey, if you like Alabama football, will you please hit a thumbs up on this video? I appreciate you guys for being here. This is game week. We are getting closer and closer to the college football kickoff here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. That'll be Saturday at 6 p.m. ESPN. I cannot wait. More coverage as news happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Every single day at 9 a.m., I'm live. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. And can I get a roll tide? We'll catch you at 9 a.m. Central Time right here on Bama Football on YouTube. See you, fam.